Sony's newest Spider-Man movie, Madam Web, is out in theaters today, but is it as bad as everyone says? Let's dive into it. Released on Valentine's Day in 2024, Madam Web follows the story of Cassie Webb. Yes, her last name is Webb, much like Mark Webb, who directed the Amazing Spider-Man movies. Follows the story of Cassie Webb as she starts seeing into the future, sort of, and she's trying to figure out what the heck is going on. Madam Web is Sony's fourth movie of Spider-Man movies that don't really have Spider-Man in them. We have Venom, then there's Venom Let There Be Carnage, and then Morbius infamously came out a couple years ago, and now Madam Web is the fourth one. But the question is Madam Web a bad movie? Listen, I'm not going to beat around the bush. This was a terrible movie. When I watched Morbius on opening night, I at least felt like I could make fun of the movie afterwards. Like, it was bad, but in an enjoyable way. This movie was just bad. Like, after I came out of the movie theater, there was no part of me that was like, oh, I can make fun of this part, or this part was so bad it was funny. It was just, no. It was just bad. I mentioned that this is Sony's fourth Spider-Man movie without Spider-Man actually being in it, and it feels like the writers lost a bet where they had to make this movie and try to reference Spider-Man as much without ever actually saying anything about Spider-Man. That's honestly what this whole movie feels like. Ben Parker and Mary Parker are both main characters in the movie, but you never get to see anything about Peter Parker or anything like that. The main villain looks like he's gonna be an evil Spider-Man, and someone actually even says that in the movie, but they say Spider-Person, they don't actually get to say Spider-Man. It feels like they just lost a bet when they were writing this movie. And this honestly isn't new with these writers. The writers who are credited on this movie have a lot of just bad movies under their belt. We've got things like Morbius from a couple years ago. We have Gods of Egypt, we have Dracula Untold, just movies that nobody really likes, yet they somehow still keep getting hired to write movies. The dialogue was one of the corniest things I've ever heard. Now, this movie takes place in 2003, and it's almost as if they tried to make it feel like a 2003 movie, like Daredevil or Elektra. Like, remember how bad those movies were? That's kind of what this movie feels like, a 2003 superhero movie. The editing was just really bad. The main villain, all of his lines were ADR, which means that they had to record them after the fact. So there's the actual shot, then they had to layer audio of him later on top of that, and you can tell in half the movie his lips aren't really lining up with what he was saying. It was really confusing to watch. The cinematography was kind of hurting my head to watch too. There was a lot of spinning, which is fine, but there was so much of it that it honestly hurt to watch. As far as the story, we're jumping into spoiler territory, but if you've made it this far, you probably don't care about spoilers, so here's a spoiler warning. But that being said, this story was just honestly terrible. The main villain, his main goal is the fact that these three spider girls are going to kill him one day. Now, as the audience, we never get to know why they're going to attack and kill him one day. It's just a vision that he keeps having. And in this vision, they're in their Spider-Man suits and they have powers. But by the time the movie ends, they never get their powers and we never get to actually see them in their Spider-Man suits. It's like we're being teased with it the whole movie, and then it just never comes to fruition. But what does come to fruition is Madam Web at the end of the movie turning into Charles Xavier. Essentially what happens is she falls into a lake and there's a firework or something that goes by, and from the shot it looks like it hits her in the shoulder. So we think she just fell into the lake and got hit in the shoulder. But then we cut into sometime in the future, and now she's blind and she's in a wheelchair. She basically turns into Charles Xavier, and the Spider-Girls are her X-Men. And it was why did we do this? This doesn't fit with the story at all. I could keep rambling on, but there's a TikTok that I saw that says the 7 most random things that happened in this movie, so I wanted to list them off for you. Madam Web is born in a cave in Peru with the help of magic spider people. The 3 spider women never get powers and are only seen in costumes during dream sequences. Evil Spider-Man is killed by a large Pepsi sign. Madam Web becomes wanted for kidnapping by the NYPD and runs down Evil Spider-Man in her car twice. Peter Parker is born but not named. And finally, Madam Web inexplicably splits into 3 ghost-like copies of herself near the end of the movie. Every single one of those things is something that happened in the movie, and every single one of those things made me facepalm in the movie. This entire movie just feels like a big facepalm to all the people watching it. So should you go watch Madam Web? No. I can't even recommend going to watch it to make fun of it, because it was just bad in a way that I didn't even enjoy myself, not bad in a way where you can make fun of it. So just skip Madam Web, go watch I don't know, what else is in theaters right now? The Bob Marley movie is out in theaters. Go watch Bob Marley movie, I guess. That's it for today. Thank you for watching my review of Madam Web. If you liked it, drop a like. And if you didn't like it, then drop a comment because it helps engagement. And if you ended up watching Madam Web, let me know in the comments what your least favorite part about the movie was, and maybe your favorite if you somehow have a favorite part of this movie. And as always, happy movie watching.